Hey, what's up? My name is Dominique and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be giving you my top 10 best makeup tips that are really going to help you elevate and snatch your makeup look every single time. Some of these makeup tips may seem a little bit extra to some, and honestly, they might be. Once I started doing these steps in my makeup routine, I really noticed a difference, and these makeup tips are why I look in the mirror and I go, ooh, she's looking cute today. So even though they might be a little bit extra, these makeup tips are really going to help you slay your makeup look and make it look like you know exactly what you're doing. So if you want to know what my top 10 best makeup tips are, then let's get started. So tip number 1 might seem a little bit self-explanatory to you, but I'm telling you this is a necessity in every single person's makeup routine. For tip number 1, I have make sure to moisturize your skin every single time before you apply your foundation. So today I'm going to be using one of the best moisturizers that you can get at the drugstore to wear underneath your foundation, and this is the e.l.f. Skin Holy Hydration Daily Moisturizer. And it's not too thin and it's not too thick, so it's perfect to pair with foundation. And when you pair a foundation with the moisturizer, you want to make sure that the moisturizer is not too oily, because if it is too oily, it could actually break up your foundation throughout the day, which is why I recommend the e.l.f. Skin Daily Moisturizer, because this is such a good option to wear underneath foundation. Moisturizing your skin before foundation is so extremely important, it's insane actually. After you moisturize your skin, you're really gonna find that your foundation applies so much nicer and smoothly on top of your skin. Honestly, moisturizing your skin is even more important than priming your skin before foundation. The way your makeup looks throughout the day is all based on how you prep your skin for your foundation. If you're moisturized, it's going to show through your foundation that your skin is moisturized. If your skin is not moisturized, you're really going to be able to tell, because it's going to look dry and cakey throughout the day, because your foundation has nothing else to cling on to besides your dry skin, right? There is not a time where you will ever regret moisturizing your skin, especially when you wear foundation on top. So moving on to tip number 2, we have less foundation is more. Today I'm going to be using one of my all-time favorite foundations, and this is the Haus Triclone Skin Tech Foundation, and I love this stuff. I'm obsessed, and if you haven't tried her out, I definitely recommend. But anyway, the less foundation that you apply to your skin, the better it's going to look throughout the day. And this applies for any type of coverage. Light coverage, medium coverage, full coverage, even a tinted moisturizer. Less is more. The number 1 reason why a foundation looks cakey is because it's actually top 2 reasons why your foundation looks cakey is the top 2 reasons we're about to talk about today. That's crazy. Reason number 1 is because you don't moisturize your skin. Reason number 2 is that you apply way too much foundation and that has nowhere else to go, so it just cakes up on your skin and it looks bad. So to avoid cakey foundation, what are we gonna do? Moisturize your skin and apply less foundation. So my number 1 tip to start incorporating into your makeup routine to make sure that you apply less foundation every single time is you want to make sure that you start with 1 pump of foundation on the back of your hand. Just 1 pump. And then I'm going to apply my foundation with a brush. It really doesn't matter how you apply your foundation, whether you use a brush or a sponge, or even your fingers, honestly. Just slap it on your face somehow. But the key to this is to see how much of your face you can cover by using 1 pump. And honestly, I think you'll be surprised with how much of your face that you can cover by just using 1 pump of foundation. And if you think that you need to add more to get more coverage, that simply isn't the case. You just need a foundation that has more coverage, because if you apply a little bit of a full coverage foundation, it's still going to be full coverage. The coverage should always be there in a full coverage foundation or a medium coverage foundation, regardless of the amount that you use. And honestly, I think I did a really good job here. I covered my entire face by just using 1 pump of this foundation. And you can see, since the Haus foundation does have a medium coverage, you can still see it has some good coverage here, right? And I didn't use that much to get it to have that coverage, because it already is a medium coverage foundation. And that is the magic of makeup. And this tip right here is really going to help your makeup look flawless, especially in person. This is such a game changer. Moving on to tip number 3, and this is one of my favorite tips because this tip right here is such a game changer, especially in my makeup routine. I can't do my makeup without this step. So tip number 3 is always press your foundation into your skin with a beauty blender. So once your foundation is on your skin, I don't care how it gets there, whether it's your fingers, whether it's a brush, whether it's a sponge, just slap it on your face, but make sure you're only using 1 pump. If you do have a slightly bigger face, it is okay to increase the amount of pumps that you use, but just start with 1, and if you need to add more, you can go from there. So I don't care how your foundation gets there, whether it's your fingers, whether it's a brush, whether it's a sponge, just get it onto your face, and then once it's nice and blended in and you think that it looks good, this is where the magic of the beauty sponge comes in. Take your beauty sponge and then just press it into your skin all over where you applied your your foundation. And I mean everywhere. Every single place that you put foundation, you need to press your beauty sponge over it, and this is really gonna help pick up extra foundation that's just sitting on top of your skin. This is also pressing the foundation into your skin and giving it the smoothest application. The beauty sponge is really helping the foundation become one with your skin. If you feel like sometimes you see some brush strokes in your foundation after you use a brush, this is going to help blend those right in. This step right here is seriously insane, and once I started doing this, I can't stop. I do this every single time I do my makeup, every single time, and I will not leave the house if I haven't pressed my foundation into my skin with my sponge. This step right here really helped me elevate my makeup looks, especially in person, because I can be confident that my foundation is not going to look cakey and it's going to look pretty smooth. All thanks to this step right here. Thank you, beauty sponge. I do not know what I would do without you. And this is also a step that I will do after every single cream product that I apply to my skin. Whether it's your foundation, your concealer, your cream blush, your cream bronzer, your cream highlighter, whatever it may be that is in a creamy liquid formula, I'm gonna use a beauty sponge to press it into my skin after I apply it every single time. And it's really gonna take my makeup to the next level. So for tip number 4, we have less concealer is more. Oh, and that actually rhymes. This is a tip that is very similar to tip number 2. Less foundation is more, but if you want your concealer to stop creasing, this is the number 1 thing that's going to help prevent it. Less concealer is more. And today I'm just using one of my favorite concealers. This is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer. I love her. So naturally we all have creases under our eyes. It's just how it is. So your concealer creasing is honestly perfectly normal. Now what's not normal is if it creases a lot or breaks up and slips off. But we want to help out our concealers and help them not crease as much. So by applying the least bit of concealer that you need to cover your under eyes, that is going to be the magic trick right there. And also, before you even apply your concealer, I always recommend to only bring your foundation up to your under eye and stop. Do not blend it into your under eye. When you apply your concealer, you basically want there to be nothing there. You want your concealer to be the first thing that your under eye is covered with, because if you put foundation on top of your under eye and then concealer on top, you're going to have so many cream products to crease, and we want to eliminate majority of the creasing. So with my concealer, I'm only going to apply a little bit, but I'm also extra, so I always go in with a little bit more than I need, and that's just a personal problem, okay? I like my makeup to be a little bit extra, and then I always do 1 swipe of concealer on top of my eyelid as well. But the same thing goes with your eyelid. You only want to apply a little bit of concealer on top of there, just enough to cover it up, because of course you're going to have creasing on top of your eye. I mean, it folds literally. And then I'm just going to blend out my concealer with a brush, and I'm going to start blending out the bottom of the concealer first, and then once that is all blended out, I'm going to move up towards the creases of my eye, towards my lash line, with the least amount being brought up to the lower lash line so that the least amount of product is where you have the most amount of creases. We really want the least amount of product over our eye creases, because that is going to help eliminate the amount of product that your eye has to eat and swallow up throughout the day. I mean, look at the difference. That's actually insane. If you're wondering what shade of concealer I have, this is the shade Silk. So then of course, once I have my concealer all blended out with my brush, I'm going to take my beauty sponge and I'm going to use it to press the concealer into my skin and make it look so flawless and smooth. Just like I did with the foundation, and just like I'm going to do with my liquid blush and cream bronzer. Like I said, this is such a must-have step in my routine and I never skip it. So tip number 5 is for all the people out there who love setting their face with powder. Tip number 5 is use the fluffiest brush that you have to set your face. So for this, I'm not talking about setting your under eye. To me, that's just a must that I have to do in my makeup routine. Every single time, I always have to set my under eye. Alright, so once you set your under eyes into place, this is where tip number 5 comes into place. So if you're someone who loves to set your entire face with powder like me, this step is for you. So I like to set my entire face with translucent setting powder because I hate when you can feel the stickiness of foundation onto your skin, and by applying powder to my skin, I don't feel that, and I feel like I can touch my face and it doesn't like transfer or anything like that. But I hate when my skin looks powdery. So that's my biggest battle. So what I do to avoid the powdery look is I take a huge fluffy brush. The bigger, the better. You want it to be maximum fluff capacity. Make sure that the brush is clean and there's nothing on it. And I'm just going to tap it into my translucent setting powder, which is what I set my entire face with always. I'm going to tap off the extra because we don't need that much powder. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start tapping it all over my face really lightly. This way I'm setting my entire face, but I'm brushing the powder over my skin super lightly so there's no powder that's really clinging to my skin. All it's really doing is lightly touching my face and setting my foundation into place. This is the Peaches and Cream PC24 brush. I'm going to link all the products that I've talked about in today's video down in the description box just in case you want to go ahead and check any of them out. Now my face feels so smooth and velvety. It's nice and set into place, but it does not look powdery because I just lightly dusted the tiniest amount of powder all over my face. I really love this tip. This is one of the tips that I feel like really has made a huge difference in my makeup routine as well. I feel like my makeup overall just looks way more smooth when I set it with a huge fluffy brush. Tip number 7 has everything to do with the eyes. And these are the tips that might seem the most extra, but I'm telling you, when it comes to your eye makeup, it makes a huge difference. So tip number 7 is always remember to squeeze your lashes together. Did I just call this tip number 7? I meant tip number 6. What the heck are you talking about, you may be wondering. This tip is really going to help your false lashes look amazing in person, and it's going to help you blend them into your real lashes so much nicer. So once you applied your lashes and it's all on, I always do this, and I don't know how other people feel about this, but this is what I do, and it really makes a difference for me. I squeeze my real lashes and my false lashes together. Just like this, like a little sandwich. All I'm doing is really squeezing the band in place, and it's helping to lock them onto your eye. And this way you can tell if your lashes are on all the way or not. That little squeeze step just helps your real lashes and your false lashes become one. And then I always push the lashes up, and then that gives it that really fluffy look. And now my lash is on perfectly. I cannot feel it on my eye at all. The sandwich just helps the lashes feel so much lighter. It's so weird. Oh, and I also apply mascara always before I do my lashes. And then this squeeze method helps them really become one. It's such a good hack. Moving on to the real tip number 7. So tip number 7 is always remember to line your waterline, your tight line, and your lower lash line. So let's begin with the lash line since we just talked about our lashes. So every single time I wear false lashes, I always do this. This right here, single-handedly, is one of the best tips that I could give for your false lashes looking the best that they possibly can. Every single time I apply my false lashes, I go over the lash band with some liner. This really helps to cover up any shadow or glue that got onto the lash band, and plus it helps to really blend the lash band into your real lashes. Whether you're wearing liquid liner or not, always go over your lash band with some liner. It's really just going to help it look more flawless and seamless, because this step right here is the one that really just blends the false lashes into your eye look. It makes a huge difference, especially when I look down. Look at my lash band right here. I just lined it with this black liner, and then I did not line this lash band yet, so look at how it looks without being lined. And also with the liners, I always make sure to line my waterline and line my tight line. I'm always going to make sure to add something in my waterline, whether it's this black pencil, whether it's my white pencil, or any other eyeliner pencil that I want to use that day. I always have to add something in my waterline. It is a must. My go-to shades are always white and black. I feel like white in your waterline just gives it that everyday look, where black is a little bit more intense and smoky and something that I would go for at night. Liner in the waterline is a must for me, no matter what type of look I'm doing. And then also every single time I wear false lashes specifically, I tight line my upper lash line. And the easiest way to do this is just stick your pencil into your lash line and then look up and then just scratch back and forth, moving from corner to corner of your eye. It feels really weird at first, but I'm telling you, especially if you're wearing liquid liner, it just blends your real lashes into the liner and it looks so good. And this step right here is really gonna take your makeup from to oh my god, because it's the little things like this that really make a difference in our makeup routine. It's weird, but it's true. So for tip number 8, we have one that's really gonna snatch your makeup. This falls into the snatch category of this video. So when I do my makeup and I do my blush and my bronzer, I feel like sometimes it can get a bit messy. So I like to clean up my blush and bronzer. So since I'm a powder girly, I like to clean it up with some powder. If you don't like setting your face with powder, that's okay. You can do this exact same step by using concealer instead. So what I'm gonna do is take take some translucent setting powder and a beauty sponge. I'm gonna coat my beauty sponge heavily with some powder. And then looking straight into a mirror, I'm gonna place the beauty sponge back at my jawline, and then I'm gonna drag it forward in a straight line into my mouth. And then I'm gonna clean it up and make sure that the line is completely straight. And I just place this line at the bottom of my bronzer. So after you do this, it should look like this. And this method is called baking. You can also do it to the sides of the nose as well to give it a little fake contour moment. So then I'm just gonna let my powder sit like this on my face for a few minutes or even a few seconds. The longer you let the powder sit on your face, the harsher the line is gonna be. So if you want a subtle line, you can just leave it on for like 30 seconds and then dust it off right away, and then it will be a lot more soft. But if I left it on for a minute, you're gonna see more of a sharp, clean line. And if you wanna do this with concealer, all you have to do is draw a line underneath the bronzer with your concealer and then blend it down towards your jawline, and then that will create that sharp line. Make sure to not blend the concealer up at all. So the powder's been on for about a minute. I'm just gonna dust it right off with the same brush that I set my face with. Make sure there's nothing on the brush. And now you can see my base makeup is so much more clean. Love that. And if you feel like you took away a little bit too much of your bronzer, that's okay. You can just dust over the line really lightly, and then it will just enhance your bronzer and bring it right back. Tip number 9 is when you're doing your lip combo, always make sure to use a lip liner. This lip liner is the shade Deep Taupe by Anastasia Beverly Hills. One of my favorites. And I love to line my lips with a lip liner because it just makes my lips look so much more precise and chiseled. And this right here is another step that's really gonna snatch your look. With a lip liner, you can really create the most precise lip. And plus, if you wanna start wearing more nude lip combos, starting with the brown lip liner first is really gonna make your nude lip combo look so much better, and you're really gonna love it that much more because you're gonna have a base underneath and it's gonna help to not wash out your lips. Lip liners have been game changers to me. And then I always go in with some type of lipstick on top, whether it's a liquid lip, a cream lipstick, or even a gloss, honestly. This is the Anastasia lipstick in the shade Praline. And now you see this lip liner with this lipstick, it made the most beautiful combo. And honestly, I could not wear this lipstick alone because it would just wash out my lips and make me look crazy. So when I paired it with this lip liner, it just created the most beautiful nude lip. And I'm telling you, this is why this is tip number 9, because it really makes a difference. And then you can really customize your dream lip combo because now the options are endless. It's a game changer. Once I started using lip liners, I never went back. I would take a lip liner over a lipstick any day. Lip liners are my true love. All right, we are on the last tip. Tip number 10. And for tip number 10, this is one that I cannot live without as well. I know I've said this with almost every tip, but this one specifically, I cannot leave the house if I do not do this. Tip number 10 is always remember to use a setting spray. This is the MAC Fix Plus setting spray. This is one of my favorites. This gives my skin kind of a more natural, dewy finish. So I'm just gonna spray this all over my skin, and I'm gonna give a generous spray. I like this setting spray a lot because it really gets your skin nice and wet. And when I spray my setting sprays, the more wet my skin is, the better. Because the spray is gonna eliminate all of the powdery look on your skin, but it's still gonna be locked into that foundation and it's gonna make it last all day long. There's just something about setting spray that really gives your foundation that skin-like finish. And plus, there are so many setting sprays out there that you can choose one that really works perfectly with your skin type. If you have oily skin, you should get a mattifying setting spray. If you have dry skin, you should get a dewy or hydrating setting spray. And if you have combo skin, you can really choose what setting spray you want for the occasion you're going for. And honestly, I'm so obsessed with setting spray, it is insane. You might not think setting spray does much for the longevity of your makeup, and honestly, you can be right most of the time. But what I love it for is how it makes your skin look, especially in person. It just makes it look so much more natural and flawless. It looks so good. Give me all the setting spray. All of it. As you can see, it's getting a little dark out. I've been at this video all day long. I've been having so much fun just playing with makeup. So now it's my cue to go when the lights start coming on outside. I miss when the sun used to set at 8:30. Those were the days. And that's it. Those are my top 10 best makeup tips to really help elevate and snatch your makeup look every single time. These are my top tips that I cannot live without in my makeup routine. When I combine these tips all together, it really snatches and just levels up my makeup to make it look even more natural and flawless flawless in person. Even though nothing about my face is natural right now, I have so much makeup on, but it looks so good in person. I'm telling you, I've tried so much to try to get it this way, and these are my best tips to help you do that. See how dark it is in here? And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you learned something. Comment down below your favorite tip, or if you've ever tried out any of these tips, and let me know what you think about them. I'll be back next week with a brand new video, but until then, you can go ahead and binge watch the rest of my videos on my channel so you don't miss me too much until then. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, and P.S. don't forget to subscribe so that we can become besties. You better hit that subscribe button. I'm watching you. I'm watching you.